We're back with Values in Action, and we have Alan R. Schonberg, who is the namesake of the Alan R. Schonberg Community Rescuer Award, with us to talk more about Dan Geller and his good works and how ordinary people, whether they're small business people, whether they're big business people, whether they're just family members, kids, parents, grandparents, can do small acts of goodness to put their values in action. And can you tell us a little bit more about the award, Alan?
Well, in an earlier segment, Stuart, I picked up on the fact that there are so many people who feel there is a dearth of good works happening, of not only charitable kind of activity, but roll up your sleeves and help people who need help kind of activity. And there is a dearth because there are millions of acts taking place. There could be mega millions taking place if we could create an awareness throughout the world of how much it means to make this a better world for those people who not only need help, but for all of us. Because I think, as Ratanjit was commenting before, we all are one. And every act of kindness, every act of goodness just makes the one that much more wholesome and beautiful.
Exactly.
And the world has a lot to learn. But there are many, many wonderful people in the world. Dan Geller is certainly one, and I'll tell you what I was mostly struck by. Dan is not a businessman practicing philanthropy through sitting on boards, going to meetings, making speeches, acting and looking important, telling his friends how important he is and how philanthropic he is. Dan is a grassroots person who does good with his own hands, his own merchandise, his own thoughts, his own kids, his own employees. He really manifests what it means to practice acts of kindness and goodness on a daily basis and to do it at a grassroots level. There's no esoteric thinking. There's no esoteric planning, vision. What he is doing is, I just want to make this a better world every day with my hands, with my merchandise, with my heart, with my kids, with my family, with my employees. And that epitomizes what could go on in this world if we can help and enable people to understand the goodness that they have in them and what they can do every single day to make it a better world.
And that it's also not an effort. One thing that we learned from Dan Geller is that these opportunities present themselves every day. It's not like you have to search them out. It's not like it's a tremendous effort or logistical planning to be good in the world and to put your values in action.
Right. Let all the esoteric thinkers and the very important business people who sit on the boards and so forth, let them do the planning, the fundraising. But the point is, every one of us, it is not only not an effort, but the thrill you get out of doing something good, what surpasses that? I just don't know of a better feeling inside as to if you can make someone's life better, if you can help someone who needs help, if you can make this a better world, even in a small, tiny way.
He has become goodness itself rather than doing good work.
Exactly.
And no matter where he is, the goodness comes out of him.
Right.
And he inspires goodness in the people who are close to him, his children, his family, his employee. So that is what we are talking about, the values actually in action. Those values are not posted, those values are not written, advocated, they are actually being practiced on a daily basis.
And you know, Ratanjit, I think even, especially in Dan's case, in an unconscious way.
Yes.
In other words, he's not saying, oh, what can I do today to make it a better world? He just does it. It comes to him naturally. And there are so many people like him, but we have a big world of billions of people. If we could instill 5 times as much, 10 times as much, 20 times as much of the Dan Gellerisms in the population of the world, just think what we could do for this world.
Beautiful.
And of course, I think the other message that Dan has integrated in his business, and many of the Alan R. Schonberg Community Rescuer Award recipients have as well, most recently Zadrunas and Jennifer Ogauskas, is that part of serving the community is being kind to others, which takes no effort. You know, you open a door for another individual, you all of a sudden create a chain reaction. You say good morning to somebody, you create a chain reaction. You go and visit somebody in the hospital who's down and out, you're not feeling well, create a chain reaction.
See, it's effortless. It's like if you are rowing a boat in the opposite direction of the river, you have to apply a lot of force and you'll get exhausted, you'll be stressed, and when you stop applying the force, you'll start going backward. But if you're rowing the boat in the same direction of the river, you don't have to apply. So this is actually the nature's way we are built to be goodness itself. Mm-hmm. It takes extra effort to be any other way. So to live stress-free, it is actually the only way to live is to become goodness itself.
The thing is that our minds are, you know, people talk about goodness of the heart, but our minds are double-edged swords. That one of the reasons why we change as we get older out of that childhood phase is we're no longer acting spontaneously. Our mind is talking us out of doing the good things. Well, I'm too busy, or I have too many obligations, or maybe if I do something for this person, he's going to stab me in the back. You know, those are the machinations of the mind. On the other hand, the mind, if you instill the mind with values, for the mind to say, I have to act this way because that's who I am, because that's the value system that I have, the mind also has the capacity of turning that around.
See, the value system is right within us. It is somehow is repressed or suppressed within us because of these all the worldly noise and all these things around us.
Yeah, the clutter.
Clutter.
Well, Alan, you have been so good to our community, and you exemplify the values of the Alan R. Schonberg Community Rescuer Award. And thanks for helping us on this show talk about Dan Geller and the other recipients.
Well, thank you, Stu. And it was my pleasure.
Thank you.
Ratanjit, thank you for having me in your beautiful home. It has really been a pleasure.
And in a moment, Ratanjit and I will be back with some additional comments.
Stuart, we had an amazing guest in Dan Geller. He is an epitome of living the values we talk about. But what is our clear message that we can now give to our audience?
I think that Dan Geller is the average Joe. The average Joe, the average person in our country can do good every day without stressing, without financially imposing themselves. And whether they own a business, whether their family owns a business, whether they're a mother, father, grandmother, aunt, uncle, you can do good and feel good as a result.
We don't need to wait till all the wealth comes to us. We can begin with the goodness itself in our every living moment of our life. And that is the message of today. And thank you so much for staying with us for this Values in Action show. Please come back next week at the same time. Thank you.